I'm going to tell you about how we started here. When we first started TheBlaze, one of my first priorities was a mission statement that would lay out clearly for us and you what our intentions were. We landed on a couple of them. The truth has no agenda is really the priority here. And it says it all. It has no agenda. And out of that came, and it lives here, that concept of truth is more important than ever before. Right now, when you see the news, you either are getting the extreme left yelling at you or the far right yelling at you. And quite honestly, if it's not that, you hear both of them yelling at each other. I don't want to hear from either of them. I don't. I'm tired of it. And I don't feel like I'm getting the truth. It's big government or bigger government. It's the Republicans' big government or bigger government and I'm sick of it. Unfortunately, for the sake of our republic, we can't shut off our ears or tune out completely. So we listen as the distance between the two parties get less and less every day. And the distance between us and the two parties grows wider. That's trouble. And those are our options. But there is another option. Nobody takes the libertarians seriously because his chair was removed from the table a long time ago. He was called a classic liberal. Wait a minute. Classic liberal, that's a libertarian? Yes. The progressives changed the meaning of that word. Look, I want to make it very, very clear. I consider myself a libertarian and a growing libertarian. But I'm not Penn Jillette. I'm not ready to say, okay, heroin for everybody. Because I don't think we're responsible. It's been 100 years of decay of each of us. But I'm a lot closer to Penn Jillette than I am to Chuck Hagel. And I will listen to Penn Jillette really with an open mind and an open heart. And I'll listen to anybody who doesn't have an agenda or properly stated. I'll listen to anybody whose agenda is the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, and the fact that man can be his own master. We're not going to play in that crazy space as a network. We're going to play someplace differently. And it's this. I've shown you this before, but this is critical to understand. Total government is here, anarchy is over here. That's your true left and right. No government, total government. This is the Nazis and the communists and everything else. This is where the Articles of Confederation were put by our founders. It was too weak, too close to anarchy, so we went to the Constitution. It was just far enough away from anarchy that we could be stable, but didn't have very much power. Well, Overton window, we keep moving this direction. And here's where the Republicans and Democrats are. And they keep moving this direction. These guys keep moving farther and farther and farther, and these guys keep moving farther and farther. That's what's happening. And we're moving far too close to total government. Well, why are we making this our option when they move this space where the American people, I think, truly live, is growing? This is the space that we want to argue. People who say, no wars whatsoever, go to the Constitution. To somebody over here, like Dick Cheney will say, yes, we need war. I don't need to hear any farther than the edge of the Republican Party. You'll get that every place else. You're going to get common sense from us. That's what we are about. Recent history has shown us that the truth is no longer the top priority. I'm not sure it's a priority at all anymore for some media outlets. Instead, it is becoming about making profits and the mainstream media yielding to the pressure from the outside interests. The days of mom and pop press standing up to government and special interests, speaking truth to power, those days are long gone. I intend on changing that. So, therefore, over the next 60 days, this network will announce, among other things, 1. Our New York headquarters are now going to be a global information center based, unfortunately, in New York City. That is half of the company. Critical, we'll get to the other half tomorrow. If we move where I think we will, we're going to move our headquarters to a building in New York, and when we move it, it will send a very clear message to everyone in Washington or in New York, and it will piss everybody off. It's going to be a good day. But we need a global information center for our company because that will be the news hub of all of the Blaze bureaus all across the globe. A daunting task. And I asked myself about a year ago, how do we even start? Well, in the next 60 days, we will make another announcement that the Blaze will have the first 3 international bureaus in cities around the world. When you are starting from the very beginning, you have to figure out which are the 3 most important cities. They have to have importance to the news of the day and America. Are they in places where we have people who are like-minded enough that could help explain the news globally from an American perspective? When we announce these cities in the next 60 days, the importance they represent will be obvious. It is our intention to be global. However, different than the global networks. We will have representation in all parts of the world, a global news service, however, that understands that it is American exceptionalism and the American Constitution and Declaration of Independence that makes us exceptional. We are not of the world, by the world, and for the world. We have a distinctly American point of view, and we're not ashamed of it. That used to be the case with almost everybody in the news, and then 90% of the news organizations went global, and so our troops became the American forces. And those that did have an American point of view and were proud of it, we later came out to realize that their view was a view through the lens of corporate or political power. To the Blaze, it means, and if it ever stops meaning this, you must put us out of business. The Constitution is the last great hope for the freedom of mankind. That is the truth. Next on our roster of things, we will have a new 60 Minutes. It's already in production. An investigative news magazine, the kind that 60 Minutes used to be. You remember when they made people sweat right here and they're like, ugh. Ours is called For the Record. Here's a quick look at what you can expect.
What's black and white and red all over? The news used to be more than just some punchline to a lame joke. There was a time when it was important to know what was going on in the world. We were proud to be informed. Unfortunately, those days are gone. Long gone. Today, everything is either red or blue. Politicians protect whoever they're in bed with. Foreign oil, labor unions, Wall Street. The list goes on. Someone needs to hold feet to the fire. And as Thomas Jefferson said, question with boldness. I'd rather know the truth than hear some sugar-coated lie. We can handle it, even when it's not pretty. All you spineless politicians and talking heads, this is your notice. For the Record is a shot over the bow from the fastest-growing media company on the planet. A news program with no political agenda and nothing to lose. The restoration of journalism has begun. Coming this season. Every call, every email, the government is watching. The NSA has turned America into a surveillance state. In 2001, they used airplanes. 2008, the markets. A different kind of terrorism. And the feds aren't the only people who want your guns. The United Nations plans to disarm America. You won't find these stories anywhere else.
Security is going to be a real issue for the people in our company. We are committed to doing something no one else will do. We will dedicate journalists to stories no one else will touch. We will find those journalists who are fearless. Now, whether that's because other networks think it's too expensive to cover them, or they will upset too many sponsors, too many people, too many shareholders, I don't know. But it will not stop us. We haven't done investigative journalism in the past on this network. I have had a team of researchers, and that's what we've done, research. But right now, we are beginning our investigative journalism with a few that we have hired, and we are currently looking for our Woodward and Bernstein. Now, maybe they don't exist anymore. And if that's the case, I don't really care. We'll grow our own. All right, next on our list, our documentary department is expanding. We have had huge success, and you would not believe, I I wish I could tell you some of the things that are happening behind the scenes because of the documentaries we are doing. There are people hungry all over the world for anyone that will tell the truth. We're expanding. We also, in the next 60 days, will be introducing a news presence throughout the broadcast day to keep you informed on the stories and the topics that the mainstream media will not touch. One more that I'm going to speak into existence because I'm told by everyone it cannot be done this year. This is going to be probably the most expensive show, and believe me, you have no idea what it costs to produce 60 Minutes. This one will be more expensive because this one will not be weekly. This will be every night. I want to introduce the next Nightline, which, by the way, ABC just pushed out of its time slot for Jimmy Kimmel. I contend it's because news organizations are no longer telling the right stories or ones that matter. This will be probably our most expensive show, including mine. Our Nightline will be a nightly half-hour broadcast to update you on a topic that no one else, quite frankly, has the balls to do. I will. When you see this, and you know that I Love Lucy still finances CBS, you can count that we're doing this without the money of special interests. We're not doing it with kickbacks or government loans. We are under attack from special interest and political pressure. I believe in the individual. We're in a bad economy right now, and I do believe the things that I say. I expect things to get worse, much worse. And at the same time, things like this. I received word early this morning that another gun manufacturer, one that isn't sure if he even wants to go public yet, he's afraid, had to cut his funding because his funding from the bank was cut. He can't fund making his guns anymore because the bank called him. They're not engaged in anything wrong. The manufacture of arms is legal. They aren't spending recklessly or defaulting on loans. The problem is that since the financial collapse, the banks are the government, and they have the power and influence above and beyond the law now. That is one reason why I will not do loans of credit, lines of credit and loans from the bank. Everything you see on this set, I purchased. Everything we own. It is possible because of the dollars you commit. And that's why we write so many books. That's why we do what we do. Because we're not making gobs of money, we're spending gobs of money. I'm always saying I'm looking for partners. Because you are more than an audience to us. You trust us with your time and your money, and we take both of those things seriously. Anybody of any stature who has come here, I just had a big network person come in here yesterday and walk through the set and said, "Oh my gosh." People who know what they're doing in the news business understand what we are doing. And they always will tell me until they see the proof that there's no way you'll do or can do what we've done. I tell them, sure the hell is. When you have good, smart, dedicated, and creative people who believe in something and are willing to lose sleep because of their why, there is no limit to what you can do. Especially when no one cares who gets the credit in the end. And when you have partners like you.